What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JP's on the keys, and it's too easy on the video today. And before we get to this, first of all, check out the gaming channel. If you already know, I'm plugging the gaming channel every vid. Check out gaming channel, link in description. Uploading. I'm trying to upload 3 or 4 times a week on there, so check out the gaming channel. Subscribe if you like gaming content. But before we get to this, I've seen a lot of other videos on this channel about the famous battles like Napoleon, the Crusades, a lot of holy wars. Definitely let me know if you want me to look at those, because again, these are wars that I am not as familiar with, so I definitely would like to get a basis of what I would need to know. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you want me to do this, because I saw Napoleon, the French Revolution with Napoleon, where they got destroyed by the Haitians. The Crusades, the Holy Wars, all these other conflicts. I definitely want to see that. But without further ado, let's get to epic history, World War I, Battle of the Somme. Am I pronouncing it right? The Somme, the Somme. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. The Somme. I think that's the best way. Let's get it.
1916. Europe is in the grips of the most destructive conflict yet known, World War I. Much of the fiercest fighting takes place on the Western Front, where British, French and German armies are locked in a bloody stalemate along 450 miles of trenches. There have been millions of casualties, but neither side can break the deadlock. The combination of barbed wire, machine guns and heavy artillery means troops trying to cross no man's land, the open ground between the trenches, are slaughtered en masse. The advantage is always with the defender. But the Allies are committed to more attacks. They're determined to liberate the parts of France and Belgium that were occupied by Germany in the first months of the war. The British and French have agreed to launch a joint offensive in the summer of 1916. But the Germans strike first. In February, they launch a massive assault on the French fortress city of Verdun. Its defense requires all available French reserves. So the summer offensive will be led by the British, their biggest attack of the war so far. Its chief aim now, to relieve pressure on the French at Verdun. The attack will take place along a 25-mile front near the river Somme in July.
Somme. There we go, Somme, right.
The new British commander, General Sir Douglas Haig, would prefer to attack near Ypres, where there are clearer strategic objectives. But the Somme is where the British and French armies meet, so where a joint offensive must take place. He would also prefer to wait until his inexperienced divisions have received more training. But the French need his help now.
Dang, that's crazy how back 100 years ago, your soldiers, you're putting men out there that aren't even all the way trained now. Obviously back then this was like an urgent affair. You needed men to fight, but just back, you couldn't even train them properly back then. You still got untrained men, not untrained, but they're severely lacking in a lot of the skills. Nowadays, they wouldn't even put you in the medic tent if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, they won't ship you out here unless you know exactly what you're doing. You know how to operate your weapon. You know how to listen to commanders, to your superiors. You know battle techniques. They're seasoning you now, but back then, you can just get dude off the street, give him a gun, tell him how to shoot it, Here, go fight a war. Not the best strategy, but that's what they had back then.
The Somme has so far been a quiet sector, allowing the Germans to build up strong defensive positions. Here, the Germans have two formidable defensive lines, with a third under construction. Each consists of 3 lines of trenches: fire, support, and reserve, connected by communication trenches. They bristle with machine gun positions and are anchored on fortified villages and strongpoints.
Yo, look at this military planning. This is, wow, they have reserve, they have a trench. Wow, look at the planning. This is crazy. A fire trench, a support trench, and a reserve trench. And they have a trench to run your communication lines. Like these, wow. Okay, this is, they really made use of the land. They definitely lived off the land.
In front of the trenches, there are thick belts of barbed wire. Below are dugouts, some 10 meters deep, to shelter German troops from artillery fire. Telephone lines, buried 6 feet deep, allow troops at the front to communicate with artillery batteries during an attack. The German troops that hold the line are well trained, and most are combat veterans. The offensive will be led by the British Fourth Army, commanded by Lieutenant General Sir Henry Rawlinson. With Haig, he draws up the plan of attack. To overcome the Germans' formidable defences, the British will carry out a massive, week-long artillery bombardment with 1,400 guns. This is expected to destroy German barbed wire, flatten trenches, and kill their occupants. 19 mines are also dug under key German strongpoints and filled with explosive, ready to detonate just before the attack begins. To the north, the British Third Army will make a diversionary attack at Gommecourt. The 16 British and French infantry divisions are then expected to take their objectives with minimal opposition. The attack will begin at 7:30 a.m. in broad daylight, so the artillery can observe its fire.
Smart.
British morale is high,
Very
and
smart.
the men are confident of victory. Many of the units taking part are PALS battalions, the eager recruits of 1914, now about to face combat for the first time. But on the eve of the assault, there are worrying reports that the British bombardment has been only partially successful. 1.6 million shells are fired, but due
Yo, that's so, that to me, just being that close to to a mortar gun is scary as enough. You know what I'm saying? Like the artillery gun. Like you get in the wrong way, that piston shoot back. Boom! Yo, you're grass, family. You're grass. Like you saw a dude was just sitting right on the edge of it, like not even phased by a huge barrel, just boom, like that. Like, sir, that is that barrel probably weighs a ton or more. That will kill you, sir. You just boom.
Due to inexperienced gun crews, a shortage of heavy guns, and faulty shells, much of the German barbed wire remains intact. German defenders, too, are largely unscathed in their deep dugouts. And from captured prisoners and listening in on uncoded telephone calls, the Germans know exactly when and where the British are coming.
You gotta code them telephones, man.
The Allied artillery bombardment reaches its peak at 7 a.m. At 7:20, the British detonate an enormous mine under a German strongpoint, the Hawthorne Redoubt, and British troops rush forward to occupy the crater. At 7:28, Further mines are detonated under German strongpoints along the front. At 7:30, the Allied bombardment moves on to the German second line, as British and French infantry begin their advance across no man's land. German troops, meanwhile, race up from their dugouts to set up machine guns. It's an enduring myth that all the British infantry climb out of their trenches and walk steadily towards the German line. A few units do, but most send men out into no man's land before the bombardment lifts, so the final dash toward the enemy line is as short as possible. But in the northern sector, whichever tactics are used, the British are easy targets for German machine gunners, especially where they bunch up to get through the few gaps in the barbed wire.
Like, see, I understand the time of war. I understand that this was a strategy back then. But, dude, like, I feel sad for the generals who literally make your troops go out in the line of fire. Like, dude got a huge Gatling gun just sitting there waiting. Dude is right here inside you. He's gonna get him. Obviously, like, you're right in the line of sight for the guns. Like, you're gonna attack a fortified trench with foot soldiers running across no man's land that the Germans already have an eye on. Like, you're just asking for thousands and thousands of casualties.
The British infantry advance bravely, but are mown down in their hundreds. Some units do break into the German line. Near Thiepval, the 36th Ulster Division captures the Schwaben redoubt. But without support on either flank, it's isolated, and the survivors are forced to retreat that night. On their right, the 32nd Division takes the Leipzig redoubt, while near La Boisselle, the 34th Division captures the Lochnagar mine crater. But these are just small toeholds in the German line, far short of their objectives.
I don't know how far you thought you were going to get if you attacked a fortified position where people already have machine guns ready. I don't know how far you thought you were going to get, but okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a war general, you know what I'm saying? I don't have military experience, so you know what I'm saying? This is just me speaking from what I'm seeing right now. That's it.
In World War I, one of the greatest challenges faced by commanders is getting accurate information about the course of the battle. Reliable field radios haven't been invented yet. Telephone lines are regularly cut by shell fire. So officers must turn to messengers, flag signals, light signals, even homing pigeons, none of which is completely reliable. To get around this problem, during an attack, supporting artillery works to a fixed timetable, moving their fire onto the next line of enemy defences at a set time. So when the infantry start their attack, gunners adjust their fire onto the second line of enemy defences. But if the infantry get held up, the supporting fire keeps moving on according to the timetable. The infantry get left behind and are at the mercy of enemy machine guns. Aerial observation by balloons and aircraft can provide valuable information, but rely on good weather and control of the skies. This is why, on the 1st of July, it takes British commanders hours, even days, to find out which attacks have been successful and which have failed. This makes it extremely difficult for them to react to the situation with any speed. Further south, there is much greater success. Despite heavy losses, the 21st and 7th Divisions take Mametz and cut off the heavily defended village of Fricourt, which the Germans abandon overnight. On their right, the 18th and 30th Divisions take their objectives, including the village of Montauban, which is secure by 11 a.m. Alongside them, the veteran French 20th Corps also takes its first-day objectives, as well as 2,500 German prisoners. The Germans didn't expect the offensive to extend so far south, and are less well prepared. And, crucially, the Allied bombardment is boosted by French heavy guns, which are much more effective at destroying barbed wire and German strongpoints. At 9:30 a.m., French colonial troops lead the attack south of the Somme River. The French seize all their objectives and take 3,000 more prisoners.
Hey, they getting something.
Despite success in the south, the first day of the Battle of the Somme is a costly failure for the British. German losses for the day are estimated at 12,000 men. The French lose 7,000. But the British suffer a staggering 57,000 casualties.
Oh my goodness.
1/3 of them killed.
In one day.
The 1st of July, 1916, becomes the bloodiest day in the history of the British Army. And it's just the first day in a battle that rages for another 4 months, finally ending in November amid freezing rain and mud. By then, the Allies have advanced 10 miles at a cost of 430,000 British casualties, 200,000 French casualties, and 450,000 German.
Over 1 million
dead. It makes
dead.
the Battle of the Somme one of...
That's over 1 million dead in 4 months.
the bloodiest in history. In British popular memory, the Somme is remembered as an unmitigated disaster and tragedy, evidence of the incompetence of British generals and the pointless sacrifice of the gallant soldiers under their command.
Exactly.
But to those who fought it and those at home, the Battle of the Somme was seen as a success. Casualties were enormous and hard to bear, but across Europe every warring nation was suffering terrible losses, as all commanders struggled to find an answer to trench warfare. And at the Somme, the British had not only helped save their French ally, who went on to defeat the Germans at Verdun, but learned vital lessons about how to fight on the Western Front. Most of all, the Battle of the Somme had been a costly but necessary wearing down of the German army, an immensely painful but vital step on the long road to victory. Maps and research for this video come from...
Okay. But yeah, just the fact that the MG08 and MG15, the German machine guns, I mean, I recognize a lot of these. Yeah, but that's so ridiculous. You basically just send your soldiers out onto no man's land and you right in the line of fire. Like, that's literally target practice for German machine guns. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're just gonna send people and you just hope that it's enough people that it just overtakes. Like, that strategy, you're gonna lose thousands upon thousands upon thousands of men for no reason. But I don't really have an answer for that. But anyway, thank you again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new to the channel. Also, just remember to just let me know if you want me to do videos on like the Napoleon, the French Revolution, like the Crusades, all the Holy Wars, all this other stuff that's on this channel. Because I've looked through this channel. This channel got some really fire content. So let me know if you want some more of this. But without further ado, thank you again. Be safe. Have a great day. Stay on the grind. Check out that gaming channel. I'm out. Peace.